340 jobs are under threat at an aircraft maintenance company at Stansted Airport. SR Technics plans to move its operations to Zurich later this year. The company has started a 3-month consultation with unions. It said in the current climate it couldn't afford to run 2 maintenance centres in Europe. A man and a teenager who kicked a terminally ill cancer patient to death in Suffolk have been jailed for life. James Killingback from Lowestoft was sentenced to a minimum of 19 years in prison, while 17-year-old Aaron Breffett must serve a minimum of 12 years. Ipswich Crown Court was told that John Fry suffered a horrific and sustained attack in an alleyway in Lowestoft in December 2008.
In football, no doubt about the big match this weekend. Norwich City go to Colchester, the team that beat them 7-1 on the first day of the season. It's going to be a sellout in Colchester. Tom Williams is there now.
A sellout, yes, the game. Also, this DVD, the most popular product in Colchester's club shop of 2009. Hardly surprising. Just look at the front cover, Demolition. Colchester fans love to remember that game. Norwich fans, of course, just wish to forget it. It'll no doubt be bustling in here in the club shop tomorrow, as it will be all around the ground after an extraordinary game with extraordinary consequences.
The opening day, a season-long drama about to unfold. Colchester thrashed Norwich 7-1. That's what happened. What happened next was a chain of events which led to a new and bitter East Anglian rivalry. Within 10 days, Brian Gunn was dismissed. Paul Lambert defected to Norwich, who have never looked back.
We just had to get the lads here at this football club to get going, and they have been brilliant for me. As I said, from day one, they've been terrific, and the fan base certainly drives us along. But as I said, we have that pressure every single game we play. We have the pressure of trying to win games.
As the Canaries paraded their man, Colchester cried foul. 5 months on, it's the rematch.
Empty now, but the Western Homes Community Stadium will be full to capacity tomorrow. A sellout 10,000 fans for the first time. While the battle on the pitch could be fierce, the same could be said right here in the director's box, with the two clubs failing to see eye to eye on compensation for Paul Lambert.
I think that for that day we maybe have to park some of the issues. That when we meet in the boardroom or whatever, we'll have to put aside some of the issues we've got with each other. But of course, I will be hoping very much that the team for me on the pitch can make them feel a little bit uncomfortable with the result.
With Lambert gone, fears were Colchester's season could unravel. Not a chance. Adi Boothroyd in, and they're still promotion contenders.
I don't think that it's been any rocket science. I don't think it's all me either. I guess that's what happens when you get some momentum and you believe in people and you work with them day in, day out. You can get them to do things that perhaps other people don't think they can do.
Add to the mix the row over ticket allocation. The stage is set. Snow swept aside, but not the recent history. The battlefield's prepared.
We've made it outside here at Colchester's Community Stadium. As you can see, the pitch behind me looks in fabulous condition, considering it's been covered for the best part of a couple of weeks. The frost covers are off, and as we heard in that report, the snow is swept to one side. Here's the back page of the local newspaper. It reads, "Boardroom bitterness, legal action, fans' fury. The East Anglian derby has arrived." Here's the man that wrote it, John Waldron. That back page says it all, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There's huge anticipation ahead of this match. The crowd are really looking forward to it. The used fans have been talking about this for weeks, probably since that 7-1 game on the opening day of the season, and everyone just can't wait for it to get going now.
Now, what sort of reception is Mr. Paul Lambert going to receive?
I'd imagine it'll be a frosty one. I think the manner of Paul's departure and his coaches at the beginning of the season obviously didn't please the used fans or the chairman, but Paul knows that. He said he's not particularly concerned by that. He's just looking to get the 3 points for Norwich City tomorrow.
Now, there's also been this row over tickets, which has added extra spice. The chairman says he'd rather see an empty seat rather than a Norwich fan sitting in the home section. Doesn't matter, it's going to be full, but it's just added to the fuel, hasn't it?
It has done, yes. It's unfortunate that there is this sort of animosity there between the clubs at the moment, and hopefully that will be sorted out sooner rather than later. But yes, it's a sellout, and there'll be lots of Norwich fans here. Probably not as many as they would like to be, but it's going to be a great atmosphere.
OK, John, thank you. Well, if part one was that 7-1, part two was Brian Gunn's sacking. Norwich's legendary goalkeeper, it was a real kick in the teeth for him when he was dismissed. And I went to see him earlier on today to find out his memories of the opening day.
Well, it was there was a lot of hype in the build-up to that game as well. You know, it was the first game of the season, and you know, we'd obviously made a lot of signings, and I think everyone was expecting us just to go on and take the challenge for League One football in a simple way. But you know, certainly Colchester that day came and surprised us.
What was going through your mind as the goals just kept going in?
Oh, it's difficult, really, and you know, to make changes at half-time when you're 5-0 down, and you know, I was hoping that the players would go back out in the second half and you know, hopefully show some pride and regain some pride. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and we lost the second half as well. But yeah, it's difficult to explain, and I don't think there'll be too many managers in the world that would be able to overturn a 5-0 deficit at half-time.
There was that unsavoury moment too when a couple of the fans came on. Did that hurt?
It did. You know, personally, you know, the season tickets were thrown towards the dugout. You know, unfortunately, that's part of my history of being a manager at the football club. Did
you feel let down by the club? Only 2 games you'd had. Yeah. I mean, I think you know, I do feel I was let down at the time, but you know, the board of directors made their decision. Obviously, they've had success from the fact that they made the change. You know, and I wish the club all the best, and you know, I'll be one of the first people to raise a glass if they do get promoted to the Championship. Well, that full interview will be on the BBC Look East website. I've got my ticket for the game. If you're not one of the lucky 10,000 fans, you can hear commentary on BBC Essex. Also, Norwich fans on BBC Radio Norfolk. And we'll have a full report in a special programme which is launching on Monday night. It's 11:35. It's late kick-off. It's the feature on that, as it is all over the BBC this weekend.
Thanks, Tom. A minibus has been moved after being abandoned in the sea during a police chase near Great Yarmouth. The Ford Transit minibus was being followed by Norfolk Police.
Now, if all the speculation is correct, 16 weeks from tonight, we'll be sitting here discussing the results of the general election.
It's likely to be one of the most important elections for many years, and that's why the candidates are already hard at work. Here's our political correspondent, Andrew Sinclair.
Yes, Susie, and could this be what we're talking about in 16 weeks' time? According to the opinion polls, if the election were held today, Labour would lose every seat in the region except Luton North and Norwich South Charles Clarke's seat. But things are very tight. If they can claw back just 2 percentage points, which is very possible, they'd hold on to Waveney, to Ipswich and to Luton South. Now, for Labour to lose power, there needs to be a swing of just 1.6% to the Conservatives. But for the Conservatives to win a majority, they need a swing of 6.9%. And that's only ever happened once before, in 1997. That's why there's so much talk about hung parliaments. Every seat is important, and that's why the election campaign is already underway.
There's 6 down here, and we've got to do that patch there.
Even in the bad weather, the activists have been out.
We have quite a big team of activists in Colchester. We have people out almost every weekend.
And by common consent, these volunteers from the Labour Party will have their work cut out this year. But are they downhearted?
I mean, it is tough when you see all the reports and you realise that maybe you aren't the favourite. But I'm proud of the Labour Party and I'm proud of what we've achieved.
In dingy rooms across the region, small bands of volunteers, fuelled just by tea and biscuits, are stuffing envelopes and printing leaflets.
To have people writing in or emailing in saying, "I'd like to help," is a real boost to the campaign. There are 43,000 houses in Chelmsford, and that means 43,000 leaflets every time we print a leaflet. That they have to be printed, they have to be delivered, and so you need an army of volunteers.
And because this is the electronic age, every candidate has a website. Many are planning to tweet their way through the campaign. All the main parties are profiling voters, working out which streets to target and sending out personalised letters.
We take nothing for granted, and the fact of the matter is, as you see around our constituency right now, we're working very hard, whether it's survey canvassing, knocking on doors, speaking to voters about the issues that really matter to them.
Thousands of poster sites have been booked for the next 4 months. Senior politicians are spending at least a day a week visiting key constituencies. And it's only January. Yes, every seat is important, but these seats are particularly important, the marginals, where just a few votes could change things. If you live in one of these seats, you will be bombarded with literature, phone calls and baby-kissing politicians. Now, the Politics Show is back this Sunday with more on all this and a special report on the state of the Labour Party after the ructions of the last couple of weeks. Susie.